I'm Jason from Smoking and Drinking in Space, a sci-fi podcast from a couple guys who think they know sci-fi.
And I'm Rob from Smoking and Drinking in Capes, a superhero podcast from a couple guys who wish they had powers.
And we're part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now.
Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others.
And you can find other cool, awesome, geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Welcome, everyone, to episode, and you would think I'd have the screen up, episode 514 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. We're recording this live on Thursday afternoon, January 26th, 2023. I am Chris. Joining me today, I have half the band of misfits I normally have. One, Willie D. Nelson, is off being a good pal, helping a friend move, so good luck to Willie's back. But I do have joining me today, Mr. Anthony Bachman.
Why, hello. We're here to celebrate sausage fingers and all things AEW. Because Willie's not here.
Why are we celebrating sausage fingers?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. It's still on my list.
Oh, yeah. You need to see 11-time Oscar-nominated movie where people have hot dogs for fingers.
Yeah, so I picked it up on Black Friday. I got the Blu-ray for like $7.99. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. It's sitting on the shelf to watch. I will get there at some point in time.
Nice.
I fully intend to.
I'm doing the same. I'm an hour into Fury. I finally picked that up yesterday, doing a run around, a bunch of picking up some things for doing some miniature painting, and then looking for some blue light glasses. I ended up going to Target, Walmart, and Costco yesterday, and I've been trying to avoid Walmart, but every once in a while I have to check. And this time I looked in the $5 bin, and I found a war movie triple feature with Fury, Black Hawk Down, and Zero Dark 30, and I haven't seen Fury, and that thing's been sitting on Amazon Prime for like $8 to rent forever. I'm like, I'm not paying $8 to rent that. I bought it and two other movies that I know are good for $5.
Man,
yeah, I got like an hour into that this morning.
I'm jealous. You got Costco. We don't have Costco here. I want
Costco right down the street.
I want like
Costco's
the $1.50 hot dogs.
Oh yeah,
man.
I'm drinking. Oh yeah, we just finished a chicken pot pie, which damn chicken pot pie prices have gone up.
Yeah, we got one at Sam's Club a couple weeks back, and it was delicious, and it was freaking huge. It was a chonker.
Yeah, the ones we get, they're the size of a family dinner plate at Olive Garden. Yeah. We had it for dinner one night, and then I had it for lunch the following 3 days.
That's what we did too.
Yeah.
Dinner and then lunch the next 3 days.
Yeah, it's not Jana's favorite because there's a lot of carbs in the breading, but yeah, that turkey in there, or the chicken in there, is good.
Oh man, I love me some rotisserie chicken. And also, if you go to the Sam's Club, they have that whole section where they have the pre-made stuff like that. They have a chicken enchilada you can get that's pre-done that they use rotisserie shredded chicken in. Oh my God, it's amazing. You just get it and toss it in the oven for like 30 minutes. Just to heat everything up and melt the cheese. Oh, it's so good. Now I want chicken enchiladas, and I don't have the time to go to Sam's until this weekend.
Yeah, see, and I'm off today, so I might go to Costco after work or after the podcast and then go get chicken enchiladas to make for Jana tonight.
The only problem
she doesn't have.
The only problem with our doing this on Thursday afternoons is I'm sitting here, I'm like, I got to figure out what to make for dinner. And this is generally the day of the week I have no clue. Like, whenever we do the grocery shopping and stuff, I put a whiteboard on our refrigerator because I was doing terrible at keeping track of fruits and veggies I had in the fridge and stuff like that, or meats. So I write down everything there. I'm like, pork tenderloin expires January 26th, strawberries, purchase date, stuff like that, so I can keep track of it. And then I have another section where it's like, I plan out my menu. Here's the things I think I'm going to make. And there's like 2 things left on that, and I don't go to the store until Sunday. So I'm like, do I make one of those now? Do I just do something random out of the freezer? I think it's going to have to end up being a pork tenderloin night, though, because I'm lazy. And pork tenderloin's good and easy to make.
It does suck the constant, like, oh, what's for dinner, what's for dinner, what's for dinner. And that's what gets people so many times into just doing frickin', it's like, oh, just go pick up McDonald's because I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah,
It's just annoying.
I use HelloFresh, and I know it costs a little bit extra, but we started when the lockdown happened and things like that. But it's 3 meals a week that I don't have to think about what am I going to do, what am I going to make. I pick them a couple weeks in advance, and I go, oh, this week I'm making curry, and I'm making what did I make last night? I can't even remember now. I made something good the other day. I can't even remember. Stuffed peppers and shepherd's pie and stuff like that I've made.
Oh, I haven't had shepherd's pie in forever.
The shepherd's pie is good, but I absolutely mega loathe mashing potatoes. I hate it. I hate it so much because it's so much time it takes to do mashed potatoes because you got to dice them, you got to boil them, then you got to mash them, then you got to put the other stuff in it. Meanwhile, you're cooking all the other stuff that goes with it. And on the shepherd's pie, you're making the filling at the same time, so you can sort of double task. But
I say, they have instant potatoes, right?
yeah, it's not as good. If you're making a
No,
shepherd's
but I
pie,
mean,
you need to have the good potatoes on top.
If you're gonna stick it inside of a shepherd's pie, you're more worried
It's
about
on
the meat
top.
and the corn and the. But I'm saying, like, you could just put instant potatoes on it; it'll be fine.
I guess I could. It seems like cheating.
Yeah, cheating's good when you're trying to do dinner. Like, you should cheat as much as possible without buying McDonald's.
It's fair. I mean, that's the one thing I'll give credit for when we've tried things like Dinnerly and HelloFresh is it got me cooking things I wouldn't normally cook, which I've kind of enjoyed, like dabbling in Middle Eastern stuff, making shawarma and stuff like that. I never would have had any idea, or making curries. Now, it's probably Americanized, but it's damn good.
Well, of course it is, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
I'm not afraid to cook with coconut milk now, is what it comes down to.
Nice, yeah.
I like
Coconut milk's
cooking with
good.
Coconut milk.
It's good. It's good for you. It works well for replacing dairy in a lot of recipes. I put it in my coffee sometimes now instead of just dumping half and half in there anymore.
I just do a splash of 2% or 1%, but I'm lazy.
In my new Christmas coffee cup, this is the way.
I don't have any fancy coffee cups down here. Sorry, guys. Oh, I've got
Giant.
I've got my Super Mario Brothers water cup that the Super Mario Brothers logo has worn off of. Thanks GameStop for the $5 clearance cup that didn't last a year.
Yeah. My awesome soon-to-be mother-in-law got me a badass Mandalorian cup.
Nice. Yeah, all I've got left is a little bit of Mario's feet in a hand.
Yeah, that one is pretty faded.
And then it also said Super Mario Brothers across, and I've only ever hand washed the damn thing, so I have no idea why.
Yikes.
But it's not a Yeti cup, but it's very similar to one. It insulates almost as well. It was $5 on clearance, so it's done its job for the past 5 years, or not
Very
5,
sad.
3 years.
I have a man called Nova tumbler that had the print on the front of it of his issue 1. And yeah, the Nova lettering started coming off, and I'd only ever hand washed it. I was like, you bastard. Because yeah, like those, it's hard to find stuff for Nova, the character from the 70s that nobody but New Warriors fans likes.
Right.
Like, I mean, hell, the variant card for Nova, Richard Rider in the Marvel Snap game isn't Richard Rider. It's fucking Sam. They put the wrong person in the variant. That's how little people care. Yeah, like, I saw that. I was like, he's got a black helmet on. That's not Richard Rider. That's fucking Sam. And I like Sam. Sam's a cool character. But he's not the original Nova.
You're not wrong. Well, before we get into the news, though, there is something I did want to bring up that is news, but is also good news for a friend of the show. I don't know if you guys remember. Sean Pryor's been on the show multiple times. We had him on a few weeks back because we like talking about good things happening to good people. The official announcement's out. You can now pre-order the Go-Go Power Rangers book with his short story in it. Go check out his Twitter at Sean Pryor. I've also retweeted it from my accounts. It's up for pre-order now, coming in June 2023. Looks like it's at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Diamond Select, things like that. So you can go pre-order that right now. Go-Go Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition. Brand new, never-before-seen short story. It's Sean's highest profile direct market work to date. We love Sean. Go support Sean. Pre-order this book.
Yeah, if you need to give yourself an extra little kick in the butt to do it, consider it your wedding present to him because he just got married last month.
There you go. See? Belated wedding gift. But I did want to bring that up because I saw it on Instagram today, and I mentioned in pre-show I'm not using Twitter a ton, so I'm actually looking through my Twitter a bit while we get started here to see what's been going on, and that's what Sean was tweeting about. So I wanted to bring it up while we're recording this. And again, encourage people, go pre-order it. We like when good things happen to good people. Sean's been a good friend to this show, and we want good things to happen for him. Sell a crap load of these books. They'd be like, hey, we need to keep bringing him in for more. That's what we want.
And you should be following Sean on Amazon anyways.
Yeah, follow him on all the social medias, too.
Yeah. All those kids' books he's been doing are freaking fantastic. The gamer ones, I've been getting those for my nephews. They freaking love them.
It's all good stuff, everyone. All good stuff. But on that note, I think we have rambled enough. Why don't we roll our way on in into the news of the week?
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week of this show. This is the part of the show where we run down what is in our minds some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up here in the past couple weeks or so, and share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date. I'll kick things off because I have a relatively short story, but I wish Willie had been here for this one. I'm sure he'll follow up on it next week. But we do know that Willie loves him some Naughty Dog games. Would I be wrong in saying that?
Oh, that's very, very true. Naughty Dog is
Last of Us, Uncharted.
And Uncharted, right?
Yep.
I knew it was Last of Us because I remembered that when I was just watching the episode of a TV show we're going to talk about later. But yeah,
right.
I couldn't remember if it was also Uncharted.
Yeah, they put out the entire Uncharted series, things like that. And I know Willie's a big fan of them. I have started playing them. I'm not very far into them yet. But there's always been a lot of fan hope that, hey, are we going to get another Last of Us game? Are we getting another Uncharted game? Good news and bad news, depending on how you look at it. But Neil Druckmann, who is one of the studio bosses over at Naughty Dog, has been making the press tour rounds because, hey, Last of Us just came out on HBO Max a couple weeks ago, which is based off of the game that Naughty Dog made. So he's getting a lot of press time in, talking about the game, getting other questions asked to him, specifically, hey, is there going to be any more Uncharted, any more Last of Us? What's the future, rather, of these game series? So Druckmann was doing an interview with BuzzFeed where he confirmed that Naughty Dog is not going to return to Uncharted at any point in the coming years. Following the events of Uncharted 4, he explained that those at the studio feel like they've finished the story that they're looking to tell. But The Last of Us Part 3 is one project idea still on the table. So the exact quote in his interview where he said, "Beyond that, I know there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3 and whether that will be a thing or not. All I could say is, at Naughty Dog, we're very privileged that our publisher is Sony, which means Sony funds our games and supports us, and we're owned by Sony. They have supported us every step of the way to follow our passions, meaning that just because something is successful, people think there's this pressure we have to make a sequel. That's not the case. For us, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 was one of our best-selling games, but we're able to put the final brush stroke on that story and say, we're done. We're moving on." So they've kind of put a pin in the story of Uncharted for now. That doesn't necessarily mean it stays that way forever. They could decide a few years down the road, 5-6 years down the road, hey, we have an idea for a story, we're ready to do something different with the franchise. But from a creative standpoint, that kind of has to be a bit freeing to be like, hey, we've done really good with this and we feel like we're done and no one's forcing us to make more. And be like, how the hell do we continue this when we're really out of ideas on it, or we feel like it's naturally ended?
And if anybody's thinking, oh, they really have to make number 5, remember how good Spider-Man 2 was and how disappointed you were in Spider-Man 3.
Right?
Yeah, the big difference between a director, writer, staff, a bunch of people wanting to make a project, and then the studio coming in and going, hey, you have to make another one. It's like, oh, we have a goblin on a snowboard. What?
Yeah. So I thought that was cool to see. I was excited for them in that regard to be able to be like, hey, we've got other stuff we want to do, other stories we want to tell. We're not necessarily locked into this because people have their own thoughts. We've talked before about why there was some sort of controversy on Last of Us 2. Regardless, Naughty Dog's creative. They come up with creative games, things like that. Being able to have the freedom to be like, we want to make something different. We want to tell different stories. That's awesome, and that's a win for us. And I especially like the fact that they make single-player games because we don't have a lot of people doing that nowadays.
There we go. Well, I mean, BioWare kind of disappointed me with Anthem, but I mean, it's nice to see they're keeping going forward with the Jedi Fallen Order stuff, so we're getting more Jedi games from them. That last one was fun as hell.
Well, it's not BioWare, though.
Wait, I thought BioWare took that one out. Was it?
No. That's the folks that did Apex. That's guys that do Apex Legends and Titanfall.
Oh, crap. Yeah, I was thinking of the wrong team. Wait, who is that? That's
and now I'm
Respawn.
Having, yeah, Respawn. I was having a super brain fart right there, and I don't know why.
Yeah, because okay, never mind. They're good at telling stories.
Yeah.
Damn it, BioWare! I want a good Anthem.
I mean, I'm just hoping the next Dragon Age game they're working on is good, and then I hope Mass Effect 5 is good. I can dream.
Those Mass Effects, I still gotta get through those.
Oh my god,
halfway
they're so
through
good.
Uncharted. My list of games I need to play is so ridiculous, and then even on like my spare day, like I'm halfway through watching a movie. I plan on doing some painting later. I've played a little bit of DBD because the new Lunar New Year stuff's out. It's like I haven't even sat down and I'm like maybe 7 or 8 hours into God of War Ragnarok. So I haven't even finished the first PS5 game I got with my PS5. And I'm halfway through Uncharted 2, which I'm playing on the PS4 out in the living room. So it still leaves me Uncharted 3. And then my plan was to next go into all of the BioShocks, because I have that trilogy. I haven't played it. Then I have Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which I haven't played any of those. And now I'm watching the Last of Us show. I was like, oh, I should really go back and play that first Last of Us game, because I have Last of Us Remastered on my account, which I've never played. Like, I played the intro, like the first like half hour, and then stopped playing it. So now after watching the show, like, I want to play it. It's like if I took a month of vacation, I could do nothing but play video games, and I still wouldn't get through my back catalog. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm in the same
boat. I need to win
boat.
the lottery just so I can be like, okay, February is the month that I play video games, and just take a month and do nothing but play games.
You're not wrong, man. So that was my news I had on that. I was going to pick up another one real quick. This is another news story I wish Willie was here for, because he'd probably go on a rant. It's one that you shared in our group chat last night. Usually last night or the night before. All my time is blurring together, guys. I'm having a terrible time with time. Terrible time with time. But this was from the Hollywood Reporter. I believe it's from Instagram. It doesn't surprise me, but I'm surprised it took this long to find out. They have reported that Titans and Doom Patrol are ending after season 4 on HBO Max. And when they were on their cancellation spree, I was surprised these weren't hit in the beginning of them, just because they're from the previous the previous group of managers, and they're probably not cheap to make, because most superhero shows not exactly cheap to make. So I was honestly surprised they weren't cut in the first wave, but they have announced that season 4 will be the final season for all of those. So it's crazy. In the past 3 years, we've lost pretty much all the Arrowverse, because they're all either canceled or ending. We've lost pretty much all of the shows on HBO Max, aside from Harley Quinn's still alive, I think.
Yeah, the animated.
But other than that, I think all of the stuff that was those DC exclusive shows that was on the DC Universe app, they're all gone now.
Yeah, I think Harley's the last one standing. And it's kind of sad, because the only DC show that we know that's coming back for sure right now, I think, is Peacemaker. And I get Doom Patrol, because Doom Patrol is fucking weird. Yeah. I love that show. Willie loves that show. Read the comic, watched the show. The show's awesome, especially Oscar-nominated Brendan Fraser is in it as Robot Man. He's amazing on that show. It's worth watching Doom Patrol just for him, especially during his whole story arc where you find out how he ended up as Robot Man. But, I can easily see any executive canceling that show, because it is so fucking weird. It's got to be a smaller audience that it's hitting. But Titans was their number one Batman show without Batman in it. And it was really well done. And it was a really fun show to watch, too. I enjoyed the hell out of Titans, even though they kind of drug along the Brother Blood storyline. I don't know. I think they're 6 episodes into the new season, and it feels like 2 hours of television and then 4 hours of filler. It's what are y'all doing? Why is this taking so long? Get to the damn story. But, I don't know. It's just weird, because, DC's favorite thing seems to be greenlighting shows that are about Batman that don't have Batman in them. Alfred Pennyworth has a freaking show. Are you kidding me? Just give us a Batman. Gotham ran for 8 years. Just give us a dang Batman show. Just put Batman on TV. Batwoman got 2 seasons and nobody wanted that.
It got 2 seasons after the lead character left the show. And everyone went, wait,
or
was only one
third?
season?
I think they did one more with the new.
That was about
the new Batwoman.
I made it. I was getting burnt out on the CW superhero shows, because it was too much and the quality was petering out. So once Arrow finished, I finished.
Yeah, I'm waiting at this point, now that we know that Flash is ending, because Flash has always been my favorite of those shows. I enjoyed Arrow, but I thought it was awesome that Greg Berlanti basically retold Batman stories with Oliver Queen.
Right.
He's I'm just going to sneak in one character at a time until I'm just telling Ra's al Ghul versus Batman, except I'm telling the story with Oliver Queen. Haha, suckers. He just snuck him in. We're not introducing Ra's al Ghul. We're going to introduce Talia al Ghul, and then we'll just work from there. Right. They'll never see it coming.
Well, I am intrigued this season of Flash, because Stephen Amell and David Ramsey are coming back. Yeah. And evidently in both their superhero personas, which I don't know how they're going to do that, since Oliver Queen is dead and not
Spectre.
It's true, he's the Spectre now.
Yeah.
But
He doesn't have to come back as he doesn't have to come back as Green Arrow, but he can still come back because he's became the Spectre.
But he was in the hood costume they were showing, so I'm very confused. I don't know what's happening.
Well, maybe he shows up looking like the Hood just because it's easier for people to look at him than seeing him as the Spectre.
Or Barry time travels. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I mean it's the
Anything
Flash.
could
He can
happen.
go anywhere and any when that he wants because he's the last good Flash standing since John Wesley Shipp died on that show again. I think
How many times did they kill John Wesley Shipp on that show?
at least 3.
Yeah.
But I mean he did. I love the fact that they gave him the cosmic treadmill death. Like he earned like the greatest Flash death of all time, and they're like, yeah, Grant Gustin's great, but we got to give this to John Wesley Shipp because he's the '90s Flash. And he wore a velvet suit that weighed 60 pounds for an entire season. The man has earned this. Like he wore the world's craziest Flash outfit in a really weird show for a long time in a pseudo like Art Deco 1950s at the same time 1990s Central City. Like that Flash show, I love it. I have it on DVD. It's so strange.
It is. It's
But,
really
yeah.
weird.
He got a great death, and now that and the fact that they know they're going into it to the last season, we're going to end the Flash, and like they know that going. I'm so happy because that means they can give Grant Gustin a great send off, and it sucks that honestly he should be literally leaving that show and becoming the DC Universe movie Flash. If there was any justice in the world, that's what would be happening. But as we can see, DC Warner Brothers, who the fuck ever is in charge, seems to be doubling down on the awful Flash that they made and still not canceling it. So, I mean, it's that part's sad, but it's awesome that Grant Gustin's going to get to end his run and it's not going to get canceled mid-season. Like, they know going into it, this is the end. Like, it'll be cool because he'll get, 8 seasons, I think they ended up having?
9.
So, 9. This is
This
9.
is the
Okay,
9.
so yeah. 9 seasons. So, I mean, that's awesome. Like, they got 9 seasons out of, milksop Barry Allen, by making him a lot more like Wally West. But
yeah, they made him Wally, basically.
yeah, they basically made him Wally and then just called him Barry. But yeah, I mean, Grant Gustin got 9 seasons out of that. That's fantastic, and that show's so good.
And to be fair, there's probably a part of Grant that even if they offered movie stuff, is probably just like, I'm ready to be done with this. I want to do something else. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's true, because because he came from Glee just like Melissa Benoist, right? So
Yeah.
he probably wants to go do a little song and dance stuff on Broadway
Or
for a
just
while.
something different.
Yeah, and just not have to be in superhero shape, wearing spandex on set every day. That can't be the most fun part of the job. Oh, hey, if you gain 4 pounds, the costume department notices. Like, you can't just be, taking your off time and just sitting at the beach eating and drinking. Like, those guys got to stay in shape. The guys and the girls on those shows. Like, that's a strict regimen to look like a superhero on TV all the time. And yeah, and he's had some great costumes, but they're all unforgiving.
Right.
Like, that boy's not wearing a lot of clothing. It's like, here's your red body stocking for the season. Have fun. It's like, spandex again.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Last thing I was going to mention before I toss things over to you, just because it's probably been out there. We are aware of it. We're not going to get into it deep here, but Adult Swim severed ties with Justin Roiland, so the final next few seasons of Rick and Morty could be very interesting. For those that aren't aware, there's court cases pending towards actions he took with a girlfriend, I believe it is, entrapment and things like that. It doesn't look good. Yes, we do have innocent until proven guilty, things like that. But at the same time, these companies can also say, we don't want to work with you anymore, which is why this really confuses me that Warner Discovery, who owns Adult Swim, will part ways with Justin Roiland, but double down on Ezra Miller as the Flash, and then won't let Jay Briscoe be on TV. And they have to fight to have his brother on TV after he's passed away in the professional wrestling side of the house. It seems like different executives at Warner Discovery have different ways to do things, and it's very confusing to me. But
well, part of it is you have 2 showrunners on Rick and Morty too, so you can cut ties with one of them and still have one of the co-creators running the thing.
The more interesting thing is going to be, I guess Roiland had kind of stopped working in the writers' room very much after season 4, from what I was reading on the subreddit. So he's been predominantly just voice talent, but he's also Rick and Morty and a lot of the side characters. So how they go forward will be interesting. Do they use impersonators? Do they use AI? Do they just make a gag like, hey, our voices are different? How the hell did that happen?
Oh, they could easily write a gag in. And what I think is really funny about that is what Rick's voice is supposed to be, right?
Yeah, they should get Christopher Lloyd to do it.
No, it's not. That's not who Justin Roiland's imitating. He's imitating drunk, the other
Dan
creator.
Harmon.
Dan Harmon. Drunk Dan Harmon is Rick. That's who Justin Roiland's trying to do. If you go back and listen to old episodes of Harmontown when he was on mic just shit-faced, it's Rick.
Okay.
It's Rick you're hearing on that podcast. So yeah, I just wonder, like, just give fucking Dan Harmon a 12-pack of beer and put him in the voice booth.
I'm not sure he
can do
wants
Rick.
I'm not sure he wants to be that man anymore, though. From
Maybe
things-
not.
yeah.
Maybe not. Of course, because yeah, I mean, and we've seen, Dan Harmon has gone through some of his own trials and tribulations, and apparently, has improved himself as a human, has admitted fault in some of the shit he did, apologized honestly, and moved forward, and people have been good with that because he hasn't been a shithead about it, acknowledging the fact that he was a shithead in previous instances.
Yes.
But yeah, it's funny because Justin Roiland is literally doing an impression of drunk Dan Harmon as Rick's voice. It's like,
Interesting.
well, just let Dan Harmon get drunk. He can do all the Rick lines. Someone else got to be Morty. I don't think Dan Harmon can do Morty, but there's so many talented voice actors out there. I guarantee you, what's his name that does Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man games? I bet he can do both of them.
How had one of my friends put it? He goes, you can see like 20 different Rick and Morty voice impersonators at any Comic Con you go to. It's going to be okay, guys. And that's not to discount the skill behind voice acting and things like that. There will obviously be differences, but once you go and read the allegations, let alone some of the stuff he was supposedly sending to underage girls as DMs on Instagram and stuff like that, I think you understand why a company would be like, there's a lot of smoke here. I don't think we can keep you around. And okay, let's pose a hypothetical. Say somehow nothing comes of it at all. He gets acquitted or he gets found not guilty. They could hire him back. I doubt they would because personal opinion, I think it's highly unlikely that anyone finds him not guilty for what we've seen there. Let's just put it that way. And I will say, I feel sad for humanity oftentimes, and I continue to, because there was a good segment of the Rick and Morty subreddit and things like that. Like, he's not allowed to do what he wants in his private life. Why are they firing him? Like, did you read what he supposedly did? Go touch grass, dude. Go touch grass, man. You don't know what's going on here.
That's the first time I heard this on the podcast, but that is a phrase my nephew, well, I guess nephew-in-law uses, Chase, that we play Fortnite with. He's like 13, 14. I think he just became a teenager. Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious to hear you as an adult say that phrase, because like when we're playing Fortnite and like we go up against like a team of kids that like, just they're instant builders and they're unstoppable and there's no way to kill them and they'd wipe us, and he'd be like, oh man, just go touch grass. Y'all been playing this game 8 hours a day.
I put it more towards those people that take Reddit way too seriously, and that's all they're built around, is being contrarian and being on Reddit. You're like, dude, you need to go outside. You need to step away because you're obviously missing things here. And like, separating the artist from the art is always difficult. So I understand there's going to be some people that don't want to go back and watch the show, and that's fine. Like, I couldn't finish House of Cards. I could not separate Kevin Spacey from the character he played.
Which is funny because now the one Kevin Spacey movie that I own and really love that I've rewatched is Seven. Mm-hmm. It's totally easy to watch Seven with him being a dirtbag.
Yeah.
And House of Cards, because I have finished it, I know that they wrote his character out. And so I love it because the rest of the show is all about his wife. And seeing Buttercup as president is fantastic.
Yeah. So just be aware there's going to be changes there. There's a lot of toxicity surrounding that because some people can't see past the fact of, I love this show and you're potentially ruining it, versus, or then call it cancel culture. I'm like, no, it's more like consequence culture. He's not getting canceled because he said something asinine. He's getting canceled because he did something bad.
Well, let's be honest. 98% of what people have cried about cancel culture is consequence culture.
You're not wrong.
You can say whatever you want. You have to deal with the consequences of the things you say.
And Justin Roiland was also let go from his game studio, Squanch Games, that had just put out High on Life, which is a game I really enjoyed, came out on Game Pass. And again, if you enjoy that game, it's tough, again, separating the artist from the art, because Justin Roiland voices a bunch of characters, including the main weapon you get in the game. It's basically Morty's voice. Of course. It's another one of those things of, the game is really fun, but I can understand where some people are saying, fuck this dude, I don't want to be involved with him. I don't want to give my money to him. Things like that. Now, he has been let go of all those things, and I'm sure, I don't know what the financials are of it. Similarly, well, we won't go down the Hogwarts Legacy path, too, because there's people making similar statements about that one, too. And,
well, that's the other thing, too. Like, part of the problem is that, like, they signed the deal for Rick and Morty for 7 years.
Right.
Like, 70 episodes over 7 seasons, 10 episodes a season. Like, they signed the biggest animation contract in history.
And this is season 7 coming up, I think, so there's still a lot to come.
there's still 3 more seasons of that show coming, and we know for a fact you got to bet there's something in that clause that they can't just not pay him. So even if Dan Harmon ends up writing the rest of the show with the writers' room, Justin Roiland's still going to get royalties from Rick and Morty for the rest of his life. Like,
unless they buy him out or something like that. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Because
depending on what's in the contract.
Yeah, that's one of the things we could see. Like, who knows? Like when the Try Guys had their controversy, evidently they bought out the guy that they removed from the Try Guys, is what came out of it, so that he wouldn't be able to continue making money off of the things they had done. They paid him. They basically bought out his shares. So I don't know how that works with creative things like Rick and Morty, whether the deal was Dan Harmon and Roland have certain ownerships, or whether they basically sold it and we're just working for Adult Swim to continue making it. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I'm not
without
clued
seeing
in
the
well
contract.
enough.
Yeah, that stuff's hard to know.
But it was worth discussing, and if you want more information on it, this isn't the place for us to get into it, but you can go find it on Twitter. Go find it on, just Google search what it is. I don't know how I had missed it when it originally happened. Like many other people, I was like, controversy with Justin Roiland. What are they talking about? And then I went, oh.
Yeah, because I heard about the Dan Harmon stuff on like the Community set, and then the back and forth publicly of him apologizing to the woman and her response. I caught all of that when it happened. I hadn't heard anything about Justin Roiland.
Evidently, it was sealed pretty quickly when it happened, and we were also, from what I could tell reading it, it was right when pandemic lockdowns and stuff were coming into play too. So when everything started to get sealed. So there's a court case coming up, but they have severed, pretty much everyone who's working with him professionally seems to have severed ties, but I haven't seen whether Solar Opposites did his show on Hulu or not. So that's what I want to watch.
They would just can't straight up can that show.
I don't know.
If that's because that's all just him.
I never got into it too much. I watched the first 3 episodes, but never hooked me.
I'm trying to remember, isn't Koala Man? Isn't that new one also him?
I don't know.
I can't remember if that one was him or Dan Harmon as well.
It's going to be interesting, and if you think there's been meltdowns in Rick and Morty fandom previously, just wait until the new season starts, and it's going to be entertaining to see some of the terrible hot takes that come out of that.
Yeah,
based off the terrible hot takes we're seeing right now over them severing ties with someone.
Yeah, new voice talent, and possibly Justin Roiland not being involved at all. People are going to lose their shit it's always going to be the people that, let's be honest, their opinions don't matter.
They're the ones that think they're Ricks but are actually Jerry's.
Oh, they're Jerry's for sure.
I'm not a Rick. Let's put it that way. I never claimed to be. But that's what I had.
On a good day, I'm a Summer.
There you go. That's what I had for my scattershot news, just to touch on a few things that happened. Let me toss things over to you, Bachman. What do you got for us?
All right. We got movie news, and let me pull up my article here. So the first thing we got to talk about is huge congratulations to the Everywhere All at Once team. Pulled from a Variety article by Brent Lang and Jordan Moreau from a couple days ago, the 24th. What day is today? Yeah, 26th. So 2 days ago. So we had, for those that didn't see, the Oscar nominations came out for the 95th Academy Awards on Tuesday. A bunch of, movies, everybody figured would get nominations. All Quiet on the Western Front, World War I epic, Banshees of Inisherin, that awesome movie that Colin Farrell did. Bunch of other films that are getting like weird nods. I think like Top Gun Maverick's getting like a producer nod, like Way of Water and Elvis are all in there. Oh, screenplay, is that the other one they
Top
give
Gun
it?
Maverick got a screenplay nod.
Which good for them. They did figure out how to write a story that worked 30 years later that made a bunch of people interested, made a whole lot of money. Of course, they're all going up against the giant juggernaut that is Steven Spielberg's The Storytellermans, The Fablemans. Yeah, the movie about movie makers making movies that we can be pretty sure the Academy's going to throw all of its weight behind because it's Steven Spielberg. It's kind of like going up against Meryl Streep and Best Actress. Like, it's kind of hard to, fight the juggernaut. But it was awesome to see that we now have the Daniel Kwan and Daniel Sherman for Everything All at Once got nominated for Best Director. So we have a Best Director nomination for the guys that made a movie about a farting corpse. And I love that. So they also got nominated for Best Picture. So the fact that like the low budget multiverse movie that came out, just after, Marvel's Endgame did its multiverse thing, and the Loki show did its multiverse thing, this low budget A24 film that had nowhere near the budget of those other things has got itself a Best Picture nomination. They got Best Director nominations. Austin Butler, who played Elvis, got a Best Lead Actor nom. So did Colin Farrell for The Banshees, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Bill Nighy for Living, and then the kind of really important one, Kate Blanchett, Ana Damos, all those we kind of expected. Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. But Michelle Yeoh, with a Best Lead Actress nomination, is the first Asian, first Asian identifying actor or actress to ever be nominated for the Best Lead Actress role for her job in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then the really cool one for Best Supporting Actor, Ke-Huy Quan. So Data from Goonies, Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, takes 25 years off from acting, comes back and does a weird multiverse movie about people with hot dog fingers, and gets a Best Supporting Actor nomination. How fucking cool is that?
That's really cool.
It's so awesome. And then other special geeky news is also, along with Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays one of the sausage finger characters that Chris is going to have to eventually see, the sausage fingers.
I know the meme. I've seen people sharing the screenshots and stuff, but
Jamie Lee Curtis got Best Supporting Actress for her role in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she's awesome. There's some because most of the actors in that movie play multiple characters, and a lot of the stuff she does is really cool. But in that category as well, the MCU has now gotten its first nomination for an Oscar, because Angela Bassett has been nominated for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, playing the Queen of Wakanda. And
awesome.
So
well
Black Panther's mom, who was fantastic in that movie, Angela Bassett, who's not, she's been up for, I can't remember if she won for the Tina Turner movie or not. I know she was nominated, but she's a killer actress. She did such a great job, portraying the role of the queen who has lost her husband and her son and her nation's protector, and basically step it up and being like, yeah, if you fuck with Wakanda, we will still whoop your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are not, indefensible. Like, we have defense in place. Don't fuck with us. Like, she was so good on that. Everything Everywhere All at Once basically got nominated in almost every category, which is just awesome to see, because it was a low budget film. I want to say it's A24, but it's a small film. They did an amazing amount with what they had, and the fact that a lot of the universes you just see as flashes, and they talked about they had to make them quick because there was only so much money in the budget, and just some of the quick universes that I want to own the Blu-ray to pause on each of those frames of film just to look at every universe, because they came up with so much and did so much with so little. It's just fantastic. But yeah, congratulations to all the nominees. But yeah, just a huge congratulations to Michelle Yeoh, the first Asian identified woman to be nominated for Best Actress. I so hope she wins it. If I could have my wish, she would get the Best Actress, and then the Daniels would get Best Director. If they get that for Everything Everywhere All at Once, that will just skyrocket them into be able to make bigger and better projects. And they make such interesting films. Like I said, they made a movie with a farting corpse with Harry Potter. They do strange things, but they do strange things that are really interesting and really well done. And if you haven't seen Everywhere All at Once, it's a weird movie. And even the Oscars are 11 nods. So even the Oscars are understanding how cool and just awesome this movie is. And then Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio got nominated for Best Animated, though apparently it looks like it's fighting up against Puss in Boots, which everybody loves. So those, I guess, are the two leads in there. For visual effects, I think that might be the one that Avatar gets for The Way of Water. They're going up against Top Gun, The Batman,
I would
Forever,
assume.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
I would assume
so
that's
it
right in
might
their wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's either the war movie or Avatar. That might be the nod they give to All Quiet on the Western Front if it doesn't win anything else. But, it's all speculation. But a lot of really good movies got nominated. It was really awesome to see. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever got multiple nods. The Batman got multiple nods. Freaking Everything Everywhere All at Once got 11. Fantastic, and congrats to all of them, because at least at this point it doesn't matter win or lose. Ke-Huy Quan from now on will be introduced as Oscar-nominated actor.
There you go.
Short round. How do you like those potatoes, Mr. Jones? That's fucking awesome. So yeah, so congrats to him coming back after all that time off and not acting, and then being in a really weird movie, and then actually being recognized for the work that he did because it was so good. He's so great in that film. And then the other story I had was we got some record breaking going on over at HBO, and it's not a Game of Thrones show. It's not a Game of Thrones spinoff show.
Yay!
Exactly. It is The Last of Us. And from a Screen Rant article by Daniel Solomon 3 days ago, Last of Us continues to grow in popularity as Episode 2 Infected yields a massive increase in viewership from last week's season premiere. So it got more viewers after the first episode going into the second episode, so the viewership increased. I'm trying to see if they actually put in... Here it is. A recent Nielsen report via Variety documents the very impressive debut ratings that The Last of Us generated its first episode, When You're Lost in Darkness, which opened to 4.7 million viewers in the U.S. across HBO and linear telecasts. The report has revealed the whopping Episode 2 jump of 22%, a total of 5.7 million viewers, largest ever increase for an HBO original drama series between its first and second episodes. It is also disclosed were the viewing figures for Episode 1 after a whole week of availability on streaming, landing the current total at incredible 18 million viewers, nearly 4 times the number of its premiere night audience. So the 4.7 million was on the premiere night. 18 million people have now seen Episode 1, and on premiere night, Episode 2 had 5.7 million viewers. Wow. Says trend seems to continue, meaning Episode 2 could break 20 million viewers after a week of availability. So this has now outshone every original show that frickin' HBO has done, which is just awesome for a show based on a video game. Yeah, and those of us that remember like the Mortal Kombat days of the 90s, where things based on video games are usually not good, and most of the time are considered a joke. Not only is this doing well, it's doing gangbusters. Let's see, what was it? Yeah, for the House of the Dragon had the flagship original drama series. See, despite a massive premiere Despite a massive premiere for the Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey-led series, it fell short of Game of Thrones spin-off premiere, which raked in nearly 10 million nightly viewers, a record for an HBO debut. House of Dragon has the advantage of being a spin-off from Game of Thrones. The fantasy show proved to be a massive success. Episode average of 29 million viewers after a week. But yeah, it didn't have the jump going into Episode 2 because so many people watched Episode 1. So House of the Dragon has bigger numbers overall so far, but like Last of Us is climbing and actually gaining viewers. So good for them. And apparently Bella Ramsey has already been on Twitter saying there's a chance that they're already looking at greenlighting the second season just based on the numbers for the first 2 episodes, which something's doing damn good when 2 episodes into the season, they're going to greenlight the second season.
I hope they do, but you can't trust Warner Brothers Discovery.
This is true.
You just can't.
Yeah, I don't trust Zaslav even a quarter of the distance I can throw him.
Yeah.
Because, I think he would make the entire network Naked and Afraid episodes if he could make everything
cheaper. It's a lot
cheaper
cheaper to make Naked and Afraid episodes than it costs to make Last of Us.
Yeah. The fact that they put a penny-pinching jackass in charge instead of someone that's actually creative just...
Really made TLC profitable in Discovery by selling a bunch of reality TV crap.
Yeah, by selling garbage.
Yeah.
You know what, MTV? This is all your fault. This is all your fault. It all comes back to the real world. It's all your fault.
Real World was awesome back in the day.
The first Real World was awesome. Season 2, they hired writers. The moment you have a writer on a reality show, you no longer have a reality show. You're just pumping garbage drama into people's heads, and it's all MTV's fault. They started all this shit. But yeah, so doing gangbuster numbers for The Last of Us. So I think we're also probably looking at, I'll bet you around the end of the season 1, we probably see like a bundled sale of Last of Us and Last of Us 2, or I guess Last of Us Remastered and Last of Us 2. We'll probably see that back on the PlayStation as a bundle. I'll bet you they'll have a sale for that when the show ends, just because they know people are going to be interested in it. But yeah, so congratulations to everybody working on The Last of Us, because that show is awesome. 2 episodes in, we are loving it. Like the way they did, what do they call them? The clackers? Clickers. So creepy. And I love how HBO does the post-show stuff. So if you just keep watching the episode, you get to see like kind of like a behind-the-scenes breakdown of what happened in the episode you just watched. I watched all of them on House of the Dragon. 2 episodes into The Last of Us, I love watching this background stuff, and they showed like all the production work that went into making the clickers in live action and putting people inside those mushroom heads. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, just and yeah, it's a special effects team that did Chernobyl, which they gotta love this because they're not making stuff that's just stomach churningly disgusting of people melting, which they did amazing. If you haven't seen Chernobyl, I watched the whole thing. I never want to watch it again because their special effects are so good. That's how disturbing the images of people melting from radiation are in that show. It's a great show, but I do not want to watch it again. And I told my fiance, do not watch this because she doesn't body horror gets her. Like, she cannot stand
don't
that
watch
stuff.
that.
And so yeah, I told her, do not watch the show. It will creep you out forever. Like, it still creeps me out thinking back on it. And I finished that show like 6 months ago. Like, it's so good. But yeah, they got to be loving the fact that they're getting to do like, sci-fi mushroom zombies now. And so it's something much more fun probably for them. Still creepy, but it's got to be much more fun than doing people melting. But yeah, congratulations to the Last of Us crew, the actors, the directors, everybody working on that show because they have made a great show and people are watching it.
I'm glad. I've liked it a lot. I mean, Willie was really hyping it for a long time there, but I think it was well deserved based off of what I've seen so far. I'm someone who hasn't played the games yet, so I'm coming into it fresh. So it paints an interesting world. Now, it does feel vaguely Walking Dead-ish at times, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, and I think it was literally at the time, because I'm trying to remember when the first Last of Us game came out.
It was PS3, wasn't it? So that's a while ago.
I think so. So, I mean, yeah, it's been a while ago, but I think it was during, like, the popularity of the Rise of the Walking Dead comic.
Yeah.
Somebody else was like, oh, hey, let's write our version of a zombie story, but do it something different. And they put in the mushroom version of it.
I should clarify.
And so it's a very different concept, but it is a zombie show.
I should clarify. Saying it feels Walking Dead-ish was not an insult or meant like that if anyone takes it that way. Like, I really did enjoy The Walking Dead for a long time. I just got burnt out on it because there was so much and other things. So I enjoyed the comic book a lot. The show just burnt me out.
Yeah, so Last of Us game was 2013 for the first one.
10 years ago.
Yeah, so 10 years ago. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so Walking Dead, which just like
the show would have been about that same time too.
Yeah, their show. So the show has already started. So yeah, you were already dealing with all the popularity of the comic, leading to a show around the time that they would have been. They probably basically would have been prepping the first season of The Walking Dead while they were creating the first game of The Last of Us. Yeah. So around the same time. So yeah, it was during right as all the zombie stuff was hitting like the height of its popularity, and we got the first season of The Walking Dead, which don't know if anything will ever do that well on cable TV again.
That was incredible.
Yeah, the pre 14 streaming services when so many people still had cable, and AMC was like, well, Mad Men's going away. We need another show. What do we have? Let's go pay this weird Kentucky bearded guy for his zombie comic.
Right.
See what we can do with it. But yeah, so yeah, they just did 11 seasons starting in 2010. So yeah, around the same time. So yeah, they did. Yeah, but it's a very different version of it because they're not like bite zombies. It's not Night of the Living Dead. It doesn't really reference anything else. It's not rage zombies, which I hate. There's no rage virus. It's just mushrooms taking over basically corpses and animating them.
It's more Pedro Pascal leading a wayward child through life. I'm okay with this.
Which is a good story in every galaxy.
Right? I mean, we've got a Mandalorian season coming up soon. That'll be exciting.
He's the galaxy's greatest babysitter.
Last trailer was pretty cool. We're coming up on it. We got a new trailer coming for Picard Season 3 this weekend, I guess, as well.
And they just did another one. I guess we got a brand new Shazam Fury of the Gods trailer that
I
just
saw that
popped up.
Dropped. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, I need to watch that now too because I'm very much looking forward to that because Zachary Levi as Shazam, as Captain Marvel, I still think possibly outside of Harley Quinn is the best casting that they've done in DC.
Yeah,
because Zachary Levi as Billy Batson in the suit is basically spot on.
I don't know. Joe Manganiello as Slade Wilson was pretty spot on too, but we only got it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds of him out of the mask. Like, it was so little because that would have been Joe cool. Manganiello Deathstroke would be great, but it's not worth having to deal with Facebook Lex Luthor.
Well, it wasn't as good as oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. The guy who played him in Arrow, Manu Bennett. Manu Bennett was awesome.
Manu Bennett, his Deathstroke was fantastic. Yeah, he just didn't rock the goatee.
He did near the end when they brought him back. I think he had the goatee. For that, final one-off.
Yeah, I think they added it to him. But yeah, Joe Manganiello he looked damn good as Deathstroke because he's huge. Like the guy's giant.
He's giant.
Joe Manganiello in a Deathstroke outfit looks like he could go in hand-to-hand combat with Superman, and you'd believe it,
right?
Because he's that big. Flash Thompson done grown up, man. Flash Thompson done grown up. How the hell was that kid, Flash Thompson, in the first Spider-Man movie? He was 32 years old. Go back and watch that movie.
Well, how old was Tobey Maguire then, though?
Tobey Maguire's a 45-year-old Peter Parker. Joe Manganiello's like 32, and they're both supposed to be like, they're not even, I don't think they're seniors. I think they're supposed to be like 17 years old in high school. It's so, when you look at that and then you look at how small and young the current Spider-Man looks, it's so ridiculous.
Well, I don't know if it's fair to say current now, but when you look at like the first 2 Spider-Man movies, I think Tom Holland like finished growing out of being, I mean, he's in his early 20s at this point, but like he lost the ability to portray the teenage Spider-Man because we got to the end of the last one. I'm like, nah, dude, he doesn't look much like a kid anymore.
Well, no, but I mean, you watch that first one, like he looks 14.
Yeah,
when
he
showed up in,
or the Civil War
when he showed up in Civil War, he looked 14.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe 17 at the time. He looked 14.
Over all of his appearances in the MCU, you got to see Tom Holland grow up pretty fast. There's a marked difference between his first appearance and his final. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, dude grew up.
Yeah, well, yeah. Actors age. It's part of the problem when you cast a child character.
It's a lot more noticeable when you're younger that you're aging.
Yeah. Speaking of The Walking Dead, that's why, the poor kid, when they killed him off in the show, was having to shave between episodes.
Coral!
Yeah, but Coral in the comic is actually the main character and lives to the very end. Spoilers. The whole damn point of The Walking Dead was Carl. Go read the book. The ending's awesome.
It is.
And it involves Coral. Yeah, that poor kid, having to like shave between every scene because he was growing a beard. And they're like, yeah, you're 12. He's like, I'm freaking 22. I can't play 12 anymore.
But I think he was his late teens when they killed off the character.
Yeah, Chandler Riggs was getting up there. Yeah, he had 5 o'clock shadow. He's supposed to be 12 years old. That shit don't work.
No. On that note, though, I think we did just wrap up our news of the week, and we're a 2-man show. We haven't done a little bit, so we're easing our way back into a slightly quicker show. And how do we wrap things up as we end the show? We have a segment called What I'm Into. It's when we share with you guys watching live or listening later the geeky and nerdy things we even get into, because, hey, you may want to go check them out yourselves. And I wish I had like a big list of cool stuff I've been getting into. As I'm thinking, like, I've been watching Last of Us, which we already talked about. I've been playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, but I haven't gotten very far on it. However, the Deadpool DLC should have dropped today, and I have the season pass, so hopefully I'll be able to add Deadpool to my team, which should be really fun. Again, it's something we'll have to ask Willie about when he's back, because he was big on Midnight Suns and was wanting Deadpool to be launch content instead of delayed content, and he'll be able to play him now. God, what else have I been getting into? It's all just kind of blurring together. I've been kind of busy with just
Marvel
work
Snap?
inside. I played a bunch of Marvel Snap. I got some arts and crafty kind of thing that's going to arrive this weekend, so I'll talk about it next weekend when I have a chance to start working on it. But it'll be interesting. I'm not known for my painting skills, so we'll see how that goes. Not miniatures. I'm not there yet. I don't have the control to do it. That's more of what it is. Not making fun of anyone that paints miniatures. I just don't have the talent. Because I tried to paint some. I used to play the X-Wing tabletop game, and I tried to paint the blood stripes on my TIE interceptors. Didn't work out very well. Didn't work out very well at all.
Just made a mess.
Just made a mess. That's okay, though. I didn't care. It still looked cool enough. But so I got something coming up there. What have I been... Guys, I have no idea. I'm just kind of living in this time warp between work and little projects around the house. And
well,
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Projects around the house suck. Yeah, I started one. Yeah, for those that can... I don't know. Can they see the door right now?
Yep.
Yeah. If you can see the door, you'll notice that there's 3 comic book pages missing. I have no Ryan Otley hanging there, and there's a Funko Pop or 2 missing up above it. That's because in that wall and into my laundry room is where the water leak has been happening. So I took the roughly, we'll say $1,000 worth of comic book Ryan Otley pages off that door, just on the odd chance that it might get wet. So fuck that.
Right.
So those have been moved. Yeah, we've been dealing. We had a leak happen twice. It supposedly got fixed the first time. The second time, we think we know what happened, and then a hole got silicone patching around it. So now, hopefully, all of that's done. Haven't put everything back yet. Haven't patched all the holes just because we want to go a couple of weeks, air out any of the drywall, and just make damn sure. And then, yeah, the ridiculous amount, like it was like $450 to get the plumber to come out here, supposedly find the leak, patch it, replace the hose that was leaking going up to the toilet with the feed line that was crimped too hard, and so it was leaking, and then come up and clean up the mess after the second leak happened, which we think was just water from the shower. No biggie. But, like, calling contractors and, like, hey, I have these 3 holes that were cut in my wall by a plumber. How much to, like, put the plaster back in and paint it? Like, oh, $500, $600. Like, that's more than the fucking plumbing. Like, that's insane. So, yeah, we're probably just going to do that ourselves one step at a time. So we've got, the house paint. We've got all the tools to do it. So, it's putting, drywall back up. It's not the hardest stuff in the world. And even if we fuck it up, so what? It's in the laundry room. Who's looking up in your laundry room? Like, who cares?
That's the key thing you got going for you. It's the laundry room, so who gives a crap?
Yeah, it's the back of a closet upstairs in the laundry room. So, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, dealing with the stress of that's been painful as we're prepping, like trying to get stuff ready for the wedding, trying to get stuff ready for the honeymoon, locking down our VRBO for Hawaii. We have our flights scheduled, and those have changed twice, which is awesome because, like, that's my job with the airline, and still, even my flights get changed, motherfuckers. It happens.
Right.
Like, nothing you can do about it. But yeah, it's like, no one can just lock a flight in place. Shit changes. So yeah, the stress of all that's been a pain. I had my first migraine in like a year the other day, like right at the end of work, which sucked. It's literally like I worked till 6 o'clock, had training at the end of the day, so it was like an hour of staring at the screen just reading. So I wasn't actually typing or working or talking to anybody. It was just reading. And yeah, like literally wrapped up like work, like signed off, and then started seeing sparkles in front of my eyes. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I just worked an 8-hour shift, and now I get a migraine, and spent the night just, like, curled up in bed in the dark, which sucked. And, and that night, I was planning on working on doing some painting because I've been working on my miniature dude, and I'm super stoked with him because this little Haragon, see if I can get the camera to focus on him a little bit. It's tough because he's very tiny. But, yeah, like, I've painted, like, a little rabbit face and little rabbit ears and, like, his pants and stuff. The camera does not want to focus on him. But he's awesome. Yeah, little tiny, painting this little miniature figure, dude.
Toss the photos up on your Instagram. Tell people to find them there.
Because, it'll be up on, I did it before. I'll do it again. Yeah, it's up on at Bachman Anthony at Instagram. And, just been enjoying the hell out of painting this little dude. I got 2 Chaos Space Marines that I ordered. They were just bits that are cut up on eBay, and another one that's still on the card. So I haven't actually built my first actual Warhammer one yet. But, like, I went out yesterday doing errands and picked up like a paint stir stick and some silly putty to put them on so I can prime them. Got me some primer. And so the next one is going to be the first one where I'll actually be cutting the pieces, gluing them together, and then priming it, and then painting it from there. And then, the next one I'm going to do is a Chaos Space Marine. I have a pair of those, and I have another one that's like a Chaos Space Marine priest dude with like a big fire staff. And it's funny because, like, I say big, but like the big staff's like this tall. Like, it's miniatures. It's all tiny. Yeah, I got me a new water jug. I got me some new I got paints I got for Christmas I'm still working with, and I got me some new paint brushes to try. Got me a new palette. So yeah, I've got all my stuff ready for this afternoon to hopefully finish up my rabbit here, my little D&D Haragon, and then I'll start on my next guy. But yeah, just been enjoying the hell of it. It's fun, just working on something so tiny, and I actually really enjoyed doing the detailed work. Just sitting there like listening to a podcast, and then this one I've been doing with the tutorial that comes with it, which is kind of nice, just because I've watched like 9 different YouTubers and how to get into painting miniatures, and I have a nephew now, or nephew-in-law, Dylan, who's been doing Warhammer for like 10 years. So like every time I have a question, I just text him because this kid knows everything about it, and he's like 20 years old. So like his room in his house, his mom's house, is just a desk that's covered in Warhammer figures and paint. So he knows everything. So it's awesome having that resource. He's been really helpful. Like, oh, you don't need this. Don't worry about getting that yet. Like, this is something you'll do, 2 years down the road. Don't jump ahead on that. Just start this first. But yeah, just really enjoyed it. And then playing some D&D. They did some quality of life updates, which are awesome. They finally added in, you can tell who the killer is chasing, no matter who they're chasing, not just the obsession. They added in icons finally to show you what your lazy ass teammates are doing. So if someone's on a generator, there's a little generator icon next to them. If they're opening a chest, there's a little chest icon. If they're on a hook, you can still see that they're hooked. If you're healing someone, it shows that you're healing someone. If you're healing yourself, it shows that you're healing. But it shows what you're doing as long as you're doing something. And so you can be working on a generator and see that one other person's being chased. And if you see those other 2 teammates don't have an icon next to their name, that means they're just hiding in a fucking bush, doing nothing, not being helpful. So that part's great. Downside being they still haven't added in the killer hooks to let the killers know. So when you get hooked as a survivor, you know how many times you've been hooked. You know on your third hook you're going to die. The killers still have no fucking clue. And so if there's 2 Claudettes in a match, if that killer doesn't remember how many times they've hooked a Claudette in the red shirt, they don't know if they're hooking you for the first time or the third time. The data's right there on the survivor screen, and they still just refuse to give it to the killer, and it's asinine. Because I have to believe, because when I play killer, I try not to tunnel people. But if you get a team of people all playing the same character and they're all in the same outfit, it's really damn difficult to know who you've hooked and who you haven't hooked, depending on if they're not playing different characters. And also, if you play 10 matches in a row, that shit just gets messed up in your head. You can't remember who you've hooked. And so the fact that the data's there, it's in the game, and it's provided to half of the players but not the other half is really stupid. Yeah, we've been playing a bit of Fortnite. Not really, nothing in the new battle pass is really for us because, well, we're both adults. It's all aimed at, like, younger age kids for this battle pass. Other than, like, the Doom character is kind of cool, but I was like, I'm not paying for that one. Just, going and enjoying that because, honestly, if I go and hop in a match and if I play 5 matches of Dead by Daylight and 5 matches of Fortnite, 90% of the time I come out of Dead by Daylight angry and upset and annoyed by cheaters and just bad players. And 90% of the time I get done playing Fortnite and I'm kind of happy and I had fun and I'm ready to go on with the rest of my night. And so Fortnite's been taking precedence because I actually enjoy it more. And then on, was it Thursday? When it came out, I did end up just tearing through it. I watched all 10 episodes of the 90s show. And watching Red Foreman yell at kids.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes so far, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I love it. It takes a bit to get used to the new characters because it's not the same kids that we watched for a decade, but it is you get cameos by basically everybody. I think pretty much everybody in the main cast comes back except for Eric's sister, who I think also in the long run of the show was only in maybe 20 episodes. Like that actress wasn't in the show that often. But yeah, no, it's a solid show. And the fact that I can't think of their real names, but Kitty and Red Foreman are now executive producers, so they got EVP credits. So the fact that they're getting paid to help produce the show and also probably have a little say in what their characters do now is fantastic and great for them.
Putting feet up asses.
Exactly, putting feet up asses all day, every day, and getting paid for it. But yeah, it's just I tore through it in a day. And other than that, we've been watching. We finally started watching How to Get Away with Murder. We really enjoyed the first season, like the first 12 episodes, and then it kind of started to drag. And then the start of this second season is just weird. And so neither one of us is really enjoying where the show's at right now. But we also know it's 7 years of the show, so we're giving it a chance and moving forward. And yet we're both just kind of disappointed because after watching Alice in Borderland, we haven't found a show that good yet. And so it's sad when you come off a great show and you want to find another great show and you just keep finding shows that are okay. I really enjoyed the Witcher spinoff that was just, the 6 episodes. Jana didn't really dig it too much because it's a prequel to the Witcher series, but Witcher Blood Origin I thought was pretty cool. They created the first Witcher in the show, so it's the first person that gets mutated by otherworldly demon blood to take out a demon, which I thought was really interesting. And then, now just looking forward to, I guess now it's, in a week or so it'll be next month, and next month we get, next month we get Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes, I want to say that's the case.
Yeah, February,
I'm not 100%
right? Yeah.
Sure.
So we're getting closer and closer to February. Yeah, good big ups for Jonathan Majors because he's going to have himself a year because the motherfucker is going to fight Ant-Man and Adonis Creed in the same year. That man is busy. He just did a World War II pilot movie where he was the first black naval aviator, and then now he's going to fight Creed in Creed 3, and he's starting what's going to be leading up to the Kang Dynasty in the MCU. It's that boy is working. He is doing some awesome movies, and I can't wait to see it because and the fact that he's fighting Adonis Creed and Ant-Man in the same year, it's you just the villain now. You're just the villain in everything. What the hell, man? But yeah, so looking forward to it because also the first 2 Creed movies are just so good. The fact that he fought Drago's son and now he's going to fight the guy that apparently was on the streets with him and ended up in jail, and so he feels like Adonis stole his life, and so he's fighting what used to be his best friend. That's such a nice twist. I know I kind of hoped that when they were showing like that it was going to be another boxer, I was kind of hoping it was going to be one of Apollo's legitimate sons, being like, "Oh, hey, you're stealing my dad's legacy," because I thought that would have been a cool twist, but they've never shown any of his other kids like in the movies as like wanting to be boxers, so it'd be kind of weird to do that now in the third film. You know, it's like wouldn't they have showed up when the kid first started training with Rocky? But yeah, it's going to be awesome to see. Plus, it's also going to be Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. So
That's cool.
That I'm super excited to see. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming. Shazam! Fear the Gods is coming. We got good comic book movies coming down the pipe. And James Gunn's last go-around with the Guardians. We got Guardians 3 on the way.
True.
So yeah, there's good stuff coming this year. I'm living for movies, man.
I did forget one thing I had gotten, though. I got myself a new micro brawler. It's MJF and the Devil Mask. And God, the light is just killing me on that.
With the chip.
With the chip. I had to cut off some of my illumination here so it wouldn't glare as bad.
The fact that they put the scarf on him is just hilarious.
It's MJF as the Joker.
Well, yeah, you only know it's MGF because of the scarf.
And he didn't put the scarf on until the end, so you didn't know who the Joker... Actually, you knew who the
Yep.
Joker was. MJF has a pretty distinctive walk.
I was like, yeah, you should have known who the Joker was. Yeah, when he walked out, yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. You mean, and this is our current world champion with his reign of terror going on with the big Burberry belt.
That's what, yeah, because I haven't seen anything since the creation of the new belt. And so, yeah, is he just being a holy terror? Is he just being just jackass number one?
Yes, and now he's paying people to beat the shit out of Bryan Danielson because I guess the thing is, the current stipulation, and we'll wrap up after this because I know most people don't care, is that if Danielson can get to the number one ranking by the next pay-per-view, it's a 60-minute Iron Man match between MJF and Danielson at the pay-per-view. So now he's paying people and cheating to beat the shit out of Bryan Danielson so that he doesn't have to have an Iron Man match against him.
Well, fair enough. I wouldn't want to have an Iron Man match against Bryan Danielson.
No. Bryan Danielson's a beast. I
I don't like the crowd chanting yes while someone kicks me in the face. Like, that's not fun. Oh, yeah. Falling off on wrestling again, but yeah, keeping up with my comics at least. So I got my entertainment, getting it where I can get it.
That's the important thing. On that note, though, we are going to start shutting things down. A friendly reminder, we do stream this show every week at some random times that we're still figuring out as we go. So pay attention to the social media. We'll let you guys know when the next show is. But in the interim, you can find the audio podcast up at atgnpodcast.com. Or if you want to see this video broadcast, head on over to youtube.com/GonnaGeek. We put everything up there after I have a chance to do some light edits on it and share it with folks. But on that note, I don't think I have anything else. What do you got, Bachman? You got anything you want to wrap up with?
I don't think so. I mean, I got a bunny. I got a little bunny. There's a bunny with a bow and arrow. Watch out now.
On that note, guys, I think we're going to shut things down. And a big thank you to anyone that did join us live and those that are catching this as we drop the audio version. Thanks so much, and see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at GonnaGeek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@GonnaGeek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at Incompetech.com.